Welcome to another episode of What Do You Need to Know to Live in Costa Rica. Today we're comparing Costa Rica with Guatemala. That's right, Pura Vida from Costa Rica. Today we're going to compare this country right here that we're sitting in with our neighbor up north in Central America, Guatemala. I'm Aaron Bailey, joined as always by my good friend, business partner, and recent tourist in Guatemala, Patrick Jager. Hi, Patrick.
Hi, this mug is from Guatemala.
Okay, it's nice. I like that. It's
I
really
love this. This is going to be a new thing. Every time I go anywhere, I'm going to add a mug. Hey, so before we get into Guatemala, let's first remind people of what we do here. We create these videos to help you decide if Costa Rica is the right place for you. And if you like these videos, if you like what we're doing here, please subscribe. Hit the like button, send us a note, give us your suggestions. Know that we love engaging with you and we love doing these videos. So thank you for being part. I'm readjusting myself. Thank you for being part of what we're doing here.
Okay, so I have never been to Guatemala. You have. It is high on my list. It looks magical.
Ugh.
I can't wait to visit. My friend actually is going this weekend. He's like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "I don't think I can make that happen." But it is a fairly quick flight from Costa Rica.
Oh, yeah. Let me preface this. We're going to go kind of comparisons like we normally do. But I will tell you that there was something very magical to me about the Lake District. And I could live there, except for all the reasons I couldn't. And we'll go through that. But literally, Antigua, I was like, I could live here. Guatemala City, I was like, can't live here. But it's funny, I look at every country now, like, could I live here or not? And what are the pros and what are the cons? So I will start by saying I will choose Costa Rica over Guatemala, but there are some real reasons that I might change. I could see myself changing that.
Yes. Yes. I get that impression having never visited there, but let's get into all the criteria about the comparison between the two countries. So first up, Patrick, let's talk about the size and scale of the two countries. In my mind, I see every country in Central America as about the same size, but they're really not. Costa Rica is 51,000 square kilometers. Guatemala is double
Yeah.
the size, 108,000, I think. So much different.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. We're going to talk about infrastructure a lot here, but I'm going to blend these things together. It feels bigger in ways because, like, there's 4-lane, 5-lane, 6-lane highways, which we don't have here. So it feels like you're going through a massive country. It is big. It's relatively small compared to, other neighbors around it. A lot like Costa Rica, topography-wise, there's a lot of hills. There is a huge difference, just like Costa Rica, between that which is paved and infrastructurally nice in that driving and that which is not. But they do have, from an infrastructure standpoint, they have a decent Wi-Fi and cell phone in the tourist belt. So even the Lake District and, obviously Antigua, you get to more remote parts of the beaches or some remote mountain areas, and you're probably not going to have that. There's also a big difference infrastructure-wise between that which has been highly Americanized and that which has not.
Yeah, Costa Rica, from the outside, appears to be more Americanized than Guatemala.
Yeah. Not necessarily from a shopping perspective, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about location. Both Central American countries. Obviously, Costa Rica is at the southern end of Central America. Historically, it was the last country in Central America on the south. Now, Panama is considered part of Central America by some people. Guatemala is in the north. Guatemala is bordered by Mexico, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, has access to both the Pacific and Caribbean. Costa Rica is bordered by Nicaragua and Panama, and it also has access to both coasts as well.
I think that's something that people don't realize is that Guatemala has coasts. Like, there are a lot of people like, wait, there's a beach? I'm like, oh yeah, and they're beautiful, by the way. I was at Tikal. Our family went to Tikal on Christmas Day for the day because we thought, what a great thing to do. And we hung with this French guy who was there surfing. And so he came to Tikal on his way. He had been surfing Guatemala. He came to Tikal and then was heading to El Salvador the next day. And he was talking to our son about how epic the surfing is in Guatemala. Like, I don't think people realize that at all.
Yeah.
Location-wise, it's like the north of Guatemala will feel a lot like southern Mexico. It makes sense; they're borders. But it's a very easy flight, flying to Guatemala City. I think there's another international airport. I think there are actually people that fly. Yeah, I think even at Tikal, that airport, I think is an international airport. Yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy. Climate-wise, it is very similar. It's tropical. It has varied elevations, so you're going to have a big, swaths of difference between highlands that are very cloudy and rainy and colder, and lowlands that are much more wet. So it's very much like here. The weather pattern, though, is a little different. They get the different edge of storms than we typically get here. You don't hear a lot, just like here, you don't hear a lot of like direct strikes of hurricanes that I know of. I might be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think so. But you would find it's pretty similar, actually.
I think also pretty similar is nature. Costa Rica does have a very diverse diversity.
Yeah.
It has beaches and volcanoes and cloud forests. Guatemala seems very similar, but also has a lot more lakes, from what I understand, and lake life. But also has, all of the Mayan ruins that are pretty unique.
I would say that Guatemala is much more dramatic naturally than here.
Interesting.
We have 6% of the world's biodiversity in Costa Rica, so we are more dramatic from a flora fauna animal perspective. But the drama of smoking volcanoes, and they're very steep conical volcanoes. I mean, we have Arenal, which is a conical volcano, but Poas is more of a shield volcano. It's somewhere in between. I think you can say that with a lot of ours. Like they're not dramatic. In Costa Rica, in Guatemala, they're very dramatic. The ruins are dramatic. The jungle, the way the jungle flows into the ruins is very dramatic. Yeah, I found it very inspiring.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to visit.
Culturally, it has much deeper indigenous roots than does Costa Rica. I am not going to diminish the native tribes of Costa Rica at all, but the native tribes in Costa Rica were relatively isolated from one another. You don't see massive, you don't see distinctive, oh, that's the X tribe from Costa Rica versus that's Mayan. Because that's a tribe that expanded and just, was one of the largest civilizations in the world at one point. And the legacy of that, there are multiple Mayan languages. It is such a place of pride and heritage, and infuses every single thing in the country. There is the Guatemalan civil wars were between Catholic urbanists and Mayan separatists. And the lake region was the hotbed because there was only one way in and one way out. And when the Mayan civilization disintegrated, the original Mayan, a lot of them moved. They either kind of integrated in or they moved up to the Lake District. So in the Lake District, there are a very large percentage of people that don't speak Spanish or don't speak Spanish natively. They speak one of multiple Mayan dialects. So the culture of it is very dramatic, and I think that's one of the things that really touched me. But then how that and the Spanish culture, which is a lot more prevalent than it is here, how they come together. You go to somewhere like Antigua, which is a World Heritage Site, And there are dozens and dozens of churches that are ruins because they're consecrated, so they're not going to tear them down. But through earthquakes and things, they've been abandoned and new ones built. But like that, they have, regardless of their colonial, Catholic, or Mayan ancestry, it is just all pervasive. And as someone that is somewhat of a culture junkie, it is really amazing because we just don't have that depth and breadth of culture engagement here in Costa Rica.
Interesting, really interesting. I hate to bring this up, Patrick, but food scene.
So good. Oh, so good. It was so good.
We love
That's
you,
all I can
Costa
say.
Rica, but the food here in Costa Rica is simple. It's high quality, simple,
It's delicious,
um,
but it's not.
amazing.
It doesn't have the variety of spice profiles. Yeah, it's just very different. But you go somewhere like Guatemala City, and it's a massive, massive city. So they have a lot of influx of cultural, but obviously that Spanish Mexican blend of spices and
Right.
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
On the other
Moving
hand,
on.
healthcare,
Healthcare.
not good. We have very high quality universal healthcare, public, private. Public healthcare is improving, but it's definitely less advanced than it is here in Costa Rica. Private healthcare is pretty critical for anyone that if you want high quality treatment there, and the diversity of high quality treatment is much more limited there. People don't go to there's not a large industry of medical tourism in Guatemala. There is in Costa Rica. I mean, this is one of the reasons I would not move there. I love the culture, clearly. I love the food scene. I love the smoking volcanoes. I love all that. But if I couldn't know that I could get health care, that's a big drawback. So
Yeah.
I would, that's probably one of the big reasons I would not move there.
But on the flip side, cost of living.
Oh, so much cheaper.
It's really hard to be more expensive than Costa Rica in the world in Central and Latin America. Guatemala is going to be generally lower cost of living and throughout the country. Food prices, consumer goods,
Yep.
rent or property, real estate is going to be lower generally than Costa Rica.
I'm going to push back a little bit on property. I was shocked at the prices. Because we looked, I always do anywhere I go, I get online and just see what the prices are going to be. And I was shocked at the prices. Like the prices in Antigua, there were a lot of $1 million homes in Antigua or more.
Because there's really no comparison of Antigua versus anywhere in Costa Rica. That you don't have a colonial town like that here
No.
in Costa Rica, and that's very attractive for people wanting to move there.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
are lots of great neighborhoods that you could live in for far cheaper than
And
comparable.
why is it so much cheaper? It's cheaper because it's bigger, so they have a much
Yeah.
larger population. So there's just more people to buy your goods. A, B, they don't have. We have so many tariffs in Costa Rica, so that raises the prices. And they don't have that with Mexico. So
Yeah.
they get so much through Mexico, and that therefore it comes from the United States or Europe or what have you. We have PriceSmart, which is a former Costco company. They have Costco. Their Costco is cheaper than our PriceSmart for sure. A lot of the exact same goods. So cost of living is cheaper in most places. Yeah, the food is much cheaper. But again, that cost of living, you have to think through getting to where you want to go. Getting to Antigua is a schlep, or the Lake District is a schlep, and so you have to think through a lot of that stuff. The other thing is in cost of living, there's a massive, massive, much more so than Costa Rica, discrepancy between those that have and those that don't. There's this town. I'm calling it a town. It's in Guatemala City, but it's the actual town that was built, and it's a totally manufactured town. Even the church is manufactured. The church looks old and beautiful. It's not. It's beautiful. It's not old. The whole town is manufactured. The U.S. ambassador lives in that town. A lot of international staff lives in that town. And we went there for dinner before our plane ride home, and it was packed. And there were people that clearly were coming from the countryside, just in like jaw down in awe of what they were seeing. But it was so clear that they felt very out of place there. And the fact that someone felt they needed to manufacture a city to bring up that quality level, I just think that says a lot. You hear my neighbor may or may not have, I don't know. We've been in their home, they've been in our home. It's not that status is just not the same. You really could tell the difference between status and non-status there in a way that felt very colonial.
Interesting. How safe did you feel?
I felt very safe. I will tell you though, when we landed, well, we landed and then the boys landed a little bit after us and said, there's a level 3 State Department warning. We shouldn't be here right now. I'm like, really? So I think there are pockets where it's unsafe. Is probably more unsafe than maybe where it's unsafe here for a lot of people. I didn't feel unsafe, but I definitely got the sense of kind of unease, and I don't know how much of that was based on just reputation. There are definitely higher crime areas, and there are definitely places where, but this is true of anywhere. This is true here, this is true in Mexico, this is true in the States, true anywhere, where there are places that you would be advised just do not go. Right. But driving around, I didn't feel unsafe. I will say, though, we stopped for gas on our way to the Lake District the day we landed, and the guy at the gas station, there was a guard at the gas station with a semi-automatic rifle. And he was just a guard, just a dude. Not, he wasn't military or anything. So that was a little disconcerting. Like, why do you need a rifle to protect your gas station?
Yeah.
But truly, I didn't. I think I was surprised. I didn't feel unsafe at all.
Great.
Yeah.
Generally, though, crime rates are higher in Guatemala versus Costa Rica.
For sure.
But yeah, it all depends on where you're going and how you're living. So
100%.
Yeah. Let's talk about the government, the quality of democracy. Obviously, Costa Rica has a very strong democracy, no military, pretty stable politically. Guatemala has experienced some really rough decades of strife, of fighting, history of corruption. It is considered a weaker democracy than Costa Rica. Both are not perfect by any means, but I think Costa Rica is a little more stable in that regard.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's just a lot more scarring on people's hearts and minds there. It's much more recent. I mean, our civil war here was in 48. There, the Civil War, some would say it's still not over. Right. So it's just, there's difference. And that ties into, I'm going to lump the next three things together: quality of life, life satisfaction, world happiness ratings. Quality of life is lower cost of living, but higher security concerns. It really depends on your location. Same thing with life satisfaction. It's very mixed. There's a huge economic disparity, and that really affects that. And tied to that, though, interestingly, from a world happiness ranking, you would think that with everything we're saying that they'd be quite low, but Guatemala is ranked 39th globally in happiness. This is based on the 2024 numbers. We're ranked 12th globally. And if you look at the top, it's always, Scandinavia, parts of Europe, parts of Asia. And we rank quite high. I was surprised that the global happiness ranking was higher, but I think part of that is, much like here, people are so attuned with the nature around them. And you can't but go outside and see these dramatic mountains and put a smile on your face.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for everything on our list of comparing Costa Rica to Guatemala. This has been a fun comparison. We always get some negative feedback on some of these videos. People disagree with us. Listen, this is our opinions. We are not here to tell you that Costa Rica is better than any country. This has been better. Costa Rica has been better for us and for our needs and our desires. Not this isn't a blanket statement. So if you disagree with us, shoot us a comment. Let us know, like, what do you find really amazing about living in Guatemala if you live there or have visited? We'd love to have those conversations in the comments.
Yeah, I think, and we try to say this a lot. The world is diverse for a reason, and everyone needs to find their place in the world that works for them. Costa Rica works better for me than Guatemala. There's an influencer I follow, though, and she lives in Guatemala, and I love watching her. I agree with so much of what she says. She's very inspiring for me. I don't think I could live there. I love to visit it. It's like Mexico City. I could go to Mexico City once a month and be happy. I don't think I could live there.
Yeah.
To each his own. We hope you find your place in the world that you feel happy. If you have that wanderlust and you're looking for somewhere. If it's Guatemala, yeah, please shoot us an email and maybe we can come visit you. Hint, hint. And let us know where else you want us to compare. We're trying to be selective. We're not going to compare like Kenya to Costa Rica. That might be a little far-fetched. But if there are ones that feel like we should for sure do and we haven't done yet, shoot us a note. We'd love to look at how we compare those. This is fun, and thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of it. We love talking about it. And until next time, Mr. Aaron Bailey for Vida.